Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Skye Townsend stars in the new comedy flick Pretty Stoned, which premieres tonight on MTV at 8 p.m. We discussed how much she enjoyed shooting the stoner comedy, as well as her father Robert Townsend's journey from just one line in Cooley High to writing, directing, and starring in Hollywood Shuffle. Hey, Skye Townsend. Hey, thank you so much for joining us on WTOP in DC.
Absolutely. Good morning. How you doing?
We're doing all right. We're excited to tell everybody about Pretty Stoned on MTV. It debuts Wednesday night. So everybody, check it out. Give us the basic premise. You and I know what it's about, but tell our listeners the basic setup.
Yeah, of course. No. So Pretty Stoned comes out on the 19th, and it basically follows two girls that work together that do not like each other at all. And they're forced to combine forces when they lose $20,000 worth of weed. And so I play Layla, who is the middle woman, and she's this kooky hippie who basically is not too thrilled to find out that they've lost all of this expensive weed. So it's a really silly stoner comedy. It's all female led, and it's just a really spectacular cast. We had so much fun making it, so we hope that people have fun watching it.
Yeah, I want to follow up on what you said about how it's, a female-led stoner comedy. We haven't gotten that too much. There's plenty of stoner buddy comedies, with dudes, Friday, Half-Baked, it goes on and on. But talk about how it's kind of cool that this is it's a cannabis cracked glass ceiling.
Right. It's fun because not only is it an all-female cast, but it's a really gifted cast. Like beyond that, everybody is a really talented actor. So it was just fun to make a little history with this while being extremely silly. And, I'm a huge fan of everything that MTV has done, especially with their original programming. So to be a part of this is just like, it's really special. And I'm excited for people to watch and decompress and not take themselves too seriously.
Absolutely. And go a little more into, your character, Layla. You said she's a new age hippie, but sort of like a middle woman in a drug operation. Why is it so fun to play? Is there anything you pull on from your own life or all right, we got to be careful. We're not saying you smoke weed, but you know what I mean? Why is it so fun to play that character?
Right. Yeah, no. I am an innocent angel. I have never seen marijuana in my life. I just am an actress. No, I'm kidding.
You're a method. You're a method actor.
Right. Layla is so fun because she has so many hobbies. She is so wild. I mean, I can't give too much away of what she does, but I will tell you, I did a lot of stunts in this movie, assisted by my amazing stunt woman, Katrina. But it was a lot of fun because Layla's the girl that she's always going to make it through. She's always going to make it through to the next round, no matter what, no matter how crazy or how high the stakes. And so it was a really fun project to work on because I got to do a lot of character work and just be the highest, silliest version of myself on camera.
I love it. Well, you've been the silliest version of yourself many times. Let's tell everybody, other stuff you've been working on. A Black Lady sketch show comes out, season 4? Did it just drop, I guess, this month, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's been a busy week. Yeah, it just dropped on the 14th, and so that's now streaming on HBO and HBO Max. And then, I have another short film coming out called Fake It Till You Make It that comes out soon. And then just keeping busy on going back on the road on the 21st to shoot again. So looking forward to just continuously, getting to do some fun projects, but I'm really, really happy to be this busy.
That's a good problem to have. All right. Well, whenever I have someone, famous, talented on, I always love to hear their superhero origin story, quote unquote. And we have to tell everybody, you were born in, California, 93. The 90s. I love it. But we're bearing the lead that your dad, Robert Townsend, a comedy legend. Talk about what was it like growing up? Was he that funny, at home as he is on screen, or at what age did you sort of come, cognizant that, wow, my dad's sort of a big deal here?
Yeah. Yeah. He was really silly, but also it's really interesting because, I grew up around him and all of his comedian friends. And I learned at a very early age that comedians are super silly, but also have a lot of depth, a lot of self-awareness, and just, really introspective and interesting people. And so, he always says to be chosen to be a comedian is an honor, but it could be a heavy burden. So I was really schooled on what the game looked like from an honest perspective. And so I'm really grateful for that because It's braced me for hard work, and it's braced me for being the silly friend, but also has taught me a lot about reserving energy for myself, you know. But he's an OG, he's a pioneer, and so anytime I need advice, he is my first call.
Absolutely. And is it true? I think everyone remembers Hollywood Shuffle, and I would like to at least ask one question about that in a second. But real quick, is it true? Didn't he get his start with like an uncredited smaller part in Cooley High in '75? I mean, that movie, I just revisited it the other day. That movie is like one of the great coming of age movies ever. I mean, at the time, people were calling it the quote Black American Graffiti because it had the wall to wall soundtrack and all that. But man, just talk about like how much that movie, did he ever talk about how that changed his life, as well as, you know, even you probably watching it, coming of age yourself? Watching Cooley High. I mean, it's like a staple for youth coming of age now.
Yeah, no, I mean, he had one line in there and it was like his biggest moment ever. But it was really interesting because, you know, when I finally saw the footage, I was like, wow, you were such a little young kid that was a dreamer. And so I just, it's really special to watch that he has not only maintained a career for this long, but really put in his 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 hours, you know, I mean, doing extra work and commercials and then finally getting his first line. It's inspiring to watch that if you put in the work, eventually you'll get to where you want to go.
Absolutely. And a lot of people probably also might not know that he try out for SNL, and I guess I don't know if Eddie Murphy got the gig instead of him, but either way, he ended up directing Eddie Murphy Raw, so it kind of came full circle there.
Yeah, that is a fact. You did your homework. Yes, he was supposed to be on SNL, but then they ended up, you know, being really good friends, and he directed Raw. So he's been in sketch comedy for a very long time. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, and Eddie Murphy Raw is like one of the iconic live stand-up things filmed ever. But before we go, I want to bring it back to Pretty Stone, but full circle it in the end. But I have to ask about Hollywood Shuffle because that movie, I mean, we probably wouldn't get Spike Lee's Bamboozled. We wouldn't get so many other movies that followed the barbershop scene. You know, am I really doing the right thing here with my creative dreams? It's like archetypal at this point. But how much do you think that changed the course of, you know, being able to satirize the lack of opportunity in quote white Hollywood? It looks even more ahead of its time now, don't you think?
Yeah, it has really held up. I think, you know, it was such an intelligent piece of work. It was really silly, but what he had to say in it and just the way that it was shot and the way that he did it off of credit cards and then went to, you know, make a hit. It's really insane. So I'm just, you know, inspired to push harder when I look at his career. But I think Hollywood Shuffle was way ahead of its time. And so I'm really happy that he's getting his flowers. You know, I always say, I'm like, I never mind talking about him just because I feel like we never know what we mean to the industry until we're gone. And so people are really giving him his flowers. He's reinventing himself now, and it's really exciting to watch.
Yes, thank you for indulging me on giving your dad a bunch of flowers on an interview where we started talking about your show, but it's all intertwined in my mind. Well, let's sort of I'll transition it and give you the stage. This will be my semi-awkward segue. All right, we'll bring it back. So, you know, in Hollywood Shuffle, they did the famous Black critics bit, you know what I mean, where they're spoofing the, you know, white fans like Dirty Harry, but here's what we really think about it. And that was so influential. So what movies since, I mean, that was in 1987 though. So like what movies since or more recently do you think would make a good in Skye Townsend if you're roasting them as modernized critics? What would be like a recent movie that you think this movie got hype and it shouldn't have, or something, you know what I mean?
Man, you know, it's so crazy. I've been working so much. I have been shooting since August consistently. I haven't even gotten to really watch too many movies. I've been watching lighthearted reality shows just to keep the time passing when I have the tiny off time that I do. So I look forward to getting a little break at the end of May to watch a lot of movies and maybe have an answer then. But I have been just going that I never even have time to watch a movie, to be honest.
Well, what are your instead of a movie that we would critique like that, like in that bit, what are movies that you do like, even if it hasn't been in the last couple years? What are some that stand out? Like, what do you said reality shows, but what are you watching in general?
Yeah, you know, well, my comfort zone is always anything Vivica Fox. I love discovering her old work. I think there's just something really captivating and confident about her on camera. And so that was probably, geez, what did I watch? I think it was something called Getting Played with her and Carmen Electra and Bill Bellamy. That was maybe the last movie I watched like a few months ago.
Right.
But I think she is so interesting on camera that everything Vivica Fox I've just been doing a deep dive on.
Awesome. Well, we invite our listeners to do a deep dive on all of your work too. Check out the Emmy-winning A Black Lady sketch show, just dropped season 4 on HBO, and then most timely here on Wednesday night, MTV, Pretty Stoned. Check it out. Skye Townsend, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Yes, thank you. I hope everybody enjoys the movie. Wednesday, April 19th, MTV.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time. I wanted to take a second to tell you about an app I really enjoy. Living in the DC area is great, and Podcast DC gathers all of the local shows that I like all in one local app. Health, sports, local news, politics, and so much more. Podcast DC is the new local app with hundreds of DC area podcasts to choose from. I can earn exciting rewards just for listening and share the podcasts I love instantly. Available in the App Store or in Google Play, listen local with Podcast DC.